Hi chip tuners, welcome to me talking about maxYMiser again. So it's been quite a few years, but I've got a new version of maxYMiser ready and I hope you're as excited about it as I am. So this new version of maxYMiser is called maxYMiser High, and I'll show you why that is later. It might be the last major version of maxYMiser, but don't worry about that because I've got other chiptune projects coming up, some new technology, and I'll probably, to be honest, do minor updates on maxYMiser pretty much forever. So I've got you, don't worry about it. So let's talk about why it's called maxYMiser High and why I feel this is, worthy of being called a major improvement. So got here the screen of my Atari STE. Probably notice it's looking quite a lot less colorful than usual. In fact, it's completely black and white. And the reason for this is that the ST is running in something called high resolution. And you can see that if you go into the desktop options menu and do set preferences, you can see the low and high resolution modes are grayed out, and we've got here the high resolution mode. Now, why would we want to have it in black and white and not in, glorious color? The reason, there's several reasons why you'd want to do this, and I'm going to go through some of them now. I've got my notes down here. So the first one of those is this mode works on every ST ever released, so everyone can get the benefit of this. Second reason is that the refresh rate on this screen mode is a lot higher. It's 72 Hertz versus 50 or 60 Hertz, so your eyes are going to thank you. You'll notice also that it's quite a lot sharper than using a composite video connection. Now, in America, people not having SCART, unfortunately for them, they don't have easy access to sharp color RGB displays, but they can still use the high resolution mode. Basically, although the ST does have its own special monitor port, this mode is a standard VGA mode. All you need to do is to buy an adapter on eBay, or you can make one up yourself. It's very easy. There's lots of plans online for doing that. Once you've done that, you can connect it to any VGA screen that you might have. So obviously I'm using a projector, which would be a good application for using this lead. You could use a flat panel LCD display too, or if you've got a fancy PC monitor, old CRT, you can use that. Now, Atari made their own high-resolution displays. There's two models of those, the SM124 and the SM125. You'll find when you buy an Atari on the second-hand market that these computers quite often come bundled with a high-resolution display, which previously, might have been a bit useless for chiptune. There's only a couple of trackers that work on the high resolution mode, so you'd be pretty limited. So this is really the first kind of recent tracker that works in high resolution mode, and I hope you're going to find it useful. You won't have to throw that old screen away anymore. You can use it for making tracks. So let me, without further ado, load up maxYMiser in the high-res mode. There we go. Now, it didn't have the flashing light bulb graphic that you're probably used to, but I managed to port this pretty easily to high-res. There are some small limitations on the high-res mode, so obviously you can't change the colors, and this mouse pointer is fixed to the triangle shape. You can't select all the different shapes that you can on the color version. So while we're on this screen, you'll probably notice that this part here, the MIDI configuration has been expanded a bit. And I'm going to talk to you about that in just a minute. I'm going to set up a drum machine and I'll be right back. And as if by magic, I'm back. So I wanted to talk about the new MIDI feature that's in maxYMiser. And it's kind of to address a timing issue which has cropped up with more recent versions of maxYMiser. So originally when I coded the MIDI features in maxYMiser was in much more simple state. And when it was functioning as a clock slave, when you started your master device, maxYMiser would just start immediately and it would stay in time. But because I've added extra stuff, for example, DMA sound and other things, that is actually no longer the case. So I've added a latency compensation feature. So first of all, I'm going to demonstrate to you the problem. So I've got here Roland drum machine, which is going to trigger the Atari. The Atari is the slave, the drum machine's the master. So to set that up, what I do is click here. The arrow is the normal state, and I click it once and it goes to MIDI. All I've got here is a very simple song, which is just some hi-hat clicks. Nothing special, but it will allow you to hear the time difference. Now on the drum machine, I've got exactly the same thing set up. Just a ticking hi-hat. So going back into MIDI, when I run the drum machine, you'll hear maxYMiser start and you'll hear the two hi-hats. You may or may not be able to hear that, but the hi-hats aren't actually quite in sync. If I start it again, I'll slow down the drum machine and you'll be able to hear it. There you go, that's pretty obvious. The drum machine hi-hat is clearly before maxYMiser's hi-hat. So the feature in maxYMiser to address that is in the config menu, and it's here, this latency. That corresponds to the number of ticks that maxYMiser will start into the song, if you like, which has the effect of bringing maxYMiser in time with your external MIDI devices. The value isn't something fixed that you can set. It depends on the machine that you're using. So Falcon and TT Ataris will run faster, so you won't need as high a number. It also depends on the tempo of your song and the amount of DMA samples and the effects you're using and stuff like that. But the drum machine is set at 140 BPM. We're not doing anything fancy in maxYMiser, and I reckon if we set this to around 3, the hi-hats will be in time. So let's try that. There we go. And now I'm going to start the drum machine. And that is sounding better to me. Let's do the test where we slow down the drum machine. Perfectly in time. That's awesome. So there we have it. 2 new features of maxYMiser. The high resolution display mode and adjustable MIDI clock sync. I hope you find these 2 features useful. Get in touch with any feedback, suggestions, or if you want to book me for a rave or something like that, who knows. And I hope you really enjoy the new version of maxYMiser. Take care.